Hello, it's Safira here. Um, this time I wanted to go and talk about werewolves. The subject this time is going to go and be one, my identity involving that, and two, it's going to go and be kind of like a message to everyone about it's for anyone who has ever felt a connection towards it, towards the subject. First, I'd like to go and discuss identity. So, lately I've been thinking about what what do I identify as? Or what would I identify as involving my beliefs? I thought about for some time if I was potentially a furry. I've thought about perhaps I am a therianthrope, but they never fit because I've realized that I just don't. I just don't fit into that because of exactly what I believe and exactly what I think. So, I've done a lot of thinking about it and I've tried to do some research on it. And what I've come to realize after thinking about what I actually believe and what I actually think and where I ever would fit in is I would be considered simply pagan. Simply not to go and mean or demean in any possible way. It's just, to me, it fits and it's nothing bigger or what feels like would be a fancier term. It is that I am pagan. I think that if anyone does believe in something but doesn't fully go and fit in, but they have beliefs, especially if they have a spiritual connection to something, that 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 grouping belongs somewhere. I found where I have, and I hope that other people can find where they belong too. But with that, I wanted to go and move on to the next subject. This time, I want to go and talk about something I've seen since I was little, and something I think affects a lot of people and has affected me. I've said stories and things I've been through before, and I've explained how the reason why I like werewolves so much, and things like that. But what I haven't explained was some of the experiences while trying to go and explore the thought and the idea of werewolves. Yes, I've seen movies, and yes, there's other things, but even after I was enjoying that thing, and even while playing around, I had a moment where I actually really wanted to be, in my mind at the time, an actual one, an actual werewolf. And for the longest time, I wanted to go and find a way or see if there was ever a way to be able to. I lost hope the older I got because as I got older, I understood more and more that that's likely not a thing. And it has made me feel depressed before, and it has upset me. Over time, though, I'm also a very stubborn person. And I'm the type of person that doesn't want to go and give up very quickly or very easily on things. So, I made this choice, or not choice, but I decided to keep being stubborn and find some way where it could be possible. and keep my mind open. Well, I found in my eyes what the closest thing that I can think of to it is. And it's that's been happening for me for quite some time, and it's developed over time. And I think that I can go and explain it now. And this is something that's not just for me and for me to just vent or just talk about. This is also for others if they want to go and find a place. I've seen many videos on it, videos about the idea of do you want to be one? Not just do you want to be one, but also how to be one. And lots of ideas on how it works. Some based on things that maybe one could only ever find in fantasy. Some based on just hope, and others going and based off of an entirely different viewpoint of it. And I think it's important to find a place without sacrificing anything healthy mentally, and at the same time without getting rid of something that maybe you are a, that you still have a connection to. For some, the connection isn't really that good or that healthy, and so maybe it's better to not have it. But for others, it is something that may actually be meaningful and may actually be something or a way that their brain works. I'm not one to go and say what is or isn't or who should and shouldn't. It's a person by person basis, and it's something that needs to be discussed, I believe, with more professional people than me. But what I will say is that this has worked for me, and so I want to share it now with everyone else. I believe that in some ways, similar to how fantasy things that we've made up are related or based off of real life things, to some degree, even the idea of werewolves, or in this case, not specifically werewolves that are cursed, but lycanthropy in general, more of the ability, so to speak, is something that can be translated to real life. How is what I figured out is based off of my original belief that we're all animals. And that even though we may separate ourselves, there are still obvious signs that show that we have very much in common with the rest of everyone. Or not everyone, but every animal out there. And for me, I have kind of made this understanding of the idea of one, animal reflections, so to speak, which is basically the idea of finding an animal, it can even be humanity itself, but any animal that you can relate to or that you like the traits or whatever they represent. And if there's a connection with that that would be a reflection. There can be more than one, things like that. But that's the idea. And it goes further in by thinking about the idea of what is a lichen. Everybody, or many people in my opinion, find very specific things in the idea of having that ability or being a werewolf, which is the idea of power, strength, freedom, protection, things like that. Well, in my opinion, I believe that that can go and be gained, but just not in the same way. I feel like everything that we want, at least internally and mentally, is already there, or at least most of it. Some knowledge needs to be gained, like learning about other animals' behaviors, to be able to emulate them and to be able to feel that kind of connection. But I also believe that the idea of strength and freedom, looking for that, and being able to allow ourselves to be ourselves is always there. And so, that's kind of where it starts to come into play. If it's not just supposed to be very serious, it's supposed to be more than just serious. It's supposed to be being able to go and have fun with the idea, but it's supposed to be the idea of emulating such beings and such creatures while enjoying the animal that we are, and still being able to feel like the other animals do, and being able to have that kind of connection and that type of kinship to where we make it our own and become our own thing. That's the way that I like to see it. Maybe go and play around with the idea, either acting like, or possibly even to some degree playing some form of pretend and having fun with that idea. But the main idea is that, and that would be the closest that in my mind we could go and get to it. Being able to have your mentality or switch basically, in this case, just embody different traits from what makes us the way we are versus makes us the other like the other animals. Instead of us going and separating or removing our emotions, we focus more on them. We go and we choose when it's a good time to sometimes follow an impulse that would normally we would say no to, but could actually make us feel better or feel happier. At times when we restrain ourselves or we stop ourselves, we follow it instead, whether it's to simply go and have fun or whether it's simply to go and enjoy something that we've been needing to or feeling something that we've been needing to for a long time. It's supposed to be in a healthy way and not a negative way, not necessarily doing bad things, obviously. Don't do bad things. But it's supposed to be something like that. And you can add more onto it, like the idea of shifting your brain in your mind. You can go and change it or switch it to another way of thinking, which in this case could be considered shifting. You can go and also shift your body, so to speak, by going and practicing things like, um, I don't have a word for it, but you can go and practice doing certain stretches and things and being able to go and do certain things that feel like it, which can go and make that a fun thing. As long as it's recognized that it's not the same way as what's seen in movies or in stories, so to speak. As long as it's recognized that that's not what's actually happening, and none of that is actually happening at all, then it can still be fun and it can still be something to go and really get into and enjoy, as long as your mind's healthy with it. And I think that a lot of people need to be able to, or not a lot as in just the whole world, but a lot of people that are into werewolves and want to be one, I think that following something like that could help. Not necessarily exactly what I'm saying, but something that's along those lines but that doesn't go overboard with it. That's something that I practice and try to do myself. And it's something that I'm following and discovering more as I grow older. I'm even writing a book on it, or trying to anyway. The point is that I think that this or that way of thinking can be helpful for people who really seek something like that and may be unfulfilled and need something that isn't going to be too much mentally or too unhealthy or unhealthy in general. That's what I wanted to go and share and say. I can go and add more notes to it, but really that's the main gist of everything. I would like to go and discuss it more, and I would like to go and answer any questions if anyone has one. I go and I am a pagan. I have beliefs outside of just that, and I can go more in depth with each thing if anyone wants. But it's just all about discussing and sharing what you think. What do you think about what I've said? What do you think about maybe your own things, or if you have your own way of seeing things? It's okay to go and disagree. It's okay to state a disagreement as long as it's nice and respectful, or respectful enough anyway. And it can still be discussed even with disagreements, as long as again it's still being nice and still trying to understand each other. And I'm open to that, as well as commenting on any of my other videos to have a discussion, or just simply ask questions, and to go and invite conversations and thought, and to go and give us both reasons to go and share. And that's what I'm trying to go and do with these videos, and at the same time be able to talk and share things. I do it much better on videos, and I do it much better when typing than I do with just going and talking regularly. And I have a lot of thoughts like this in my head, so I wanted to start sharing them. Plus, I don't see this type of stuff anywhere, so I wanted to share it here. Anyway, I think that that's the best thing that I can share so far. If you want any more details on what I'm talking about because I didn't explain enough or I didn't go into depth enough, then comment. Subscribe if you would like to go and see any more of things like this. If you want to go and see any more of me discussing werewolves, like in media and fantasy, werewolves, like in this particular case, my viewpoint, my pagan viewpoint of following kind of like the closest thing you can get to lycanthropy, and other things like that. And I also talk about and I enjoy video games and other things. Feel free also to go and make suggestions on what I could do for videos. I may not do them, but it doesn't hurt to give the idea. And maybe I'll go and I'll do it simply because I know somebody is interested in it. Again, respectfully, nothing out of line or nothing that would be too much. I am still a shy person, and I'm normally not going to be very open in certain ways. So, there's that. But yeah, I just wanted to go and share that this time, and I hope that you guys answer, that you guys subscribe because you're interested in seeing more pagan and all kinds of other stuff like that, and that you go and and that you go and like the video. Oh, and lastly, I am going to be trying to go and make some more videos, but this time I was thinking about going and doing reviews more in detail, but that I'll express that it's spoilers, but in detail, werewolf movies, and specific ones. I was going to go and express my viewpoints on it, what I like and didn't like, and see if anybody wanted to either talk about it, have an open discussion on it, or whatever, anything like that. But, yeah, that's the end of it for now. If you've managed to watch this far, thank you very much. And please go and try to comment if you can. Share my videos with other people if you like. Things like that. Alright, that's all I have for now. Bye.